Welcome, everyone, to another episode of Just Saying Football with Jack and Sean. I'm your host, Sean Gannon, alongside my partner, Jack McNicholas. We're here to bring you news, notes, weekly updates, and game analysis of your favorite teams from around the league. If you have not had the chance, go check out our website at justsayingfootball.com and follow us on Instagram at justsayingNoGWJS for article and video updates. Keeping it going. 1 p.m. on Sunday, starting it off with the game that we are going to be at, my friend.
Yeah.
Buffalo Bills hosting the Indianapolis Colts. What are your thoughts on this one?
Yeah, man, we picked a good one to go for this year. I mean, right now, the 6-3 Bills, we were talking about in the last video, they're in a division race right now with the Patriots. They're hosting this one. I mean, the Bills, they're looking good right now. I know 6-3. It's something we've been big on this team, but I'm very interested to see how the Buffalo defense reacts to Jonathan Taylor. I mean, Buffalo right now, the second best at the pass, third best at the run, only allowing 83 yards a game. And, Jonathan Taylor is looking like a premier back right now.
Yeah, he's looking like the best running back in football right now in the entire NFL. He's having a great season. So is Michael Pittman, Carson Wentz with the 17-3 touchdown interception ratio. I'm all in on Bills Mafia, man. We're up in Buffalo. It's gonna be cold. It's gonna be a good one. You know that everyone's gonna be excited. I'm going with the crowd. I'm going with the vibe on this one. They beat them in the playoffs, and normally I'd say that gives the Colts more of a reason to want to go and defeat them. But I just feel like this is all going Buffalo's way right now. They are one of the best teams in the NFL, one of the best teams in the AFC. They're gonna get this win, man. They got it. We're going there. We're doing it live.
Yeah, and when we saw it get cold last year, in Buffalo, we started seeing these Bills get hot, and with Diggs and Josh Allen, the way that they've been able to connect over the last couple weeks, we're seeing that connection we saw last year. Hard for me to go, but I will go with Indy on this one. To kind of just oppose here. I do love the run game.
You're wearing Bills.
Cold game. I would like to just to oppose you really. Looking at this game from both perspectives, but the Bills, you got to give respect to everything to them. I mean, for me, they have every chance to win this game at home. Outside of opposing shots here, I mean, really, it's hard to bet against them. They're the second best offense, best defense in the league, and Josh Allen looks like he's back. So I'm going with them.
All right. I love it. All right. Moving on. Baltimore Ravens going to Chicago, taking on the Bears. Justin Fields looked pretty solid in the Steelers outing for the most part. Looks like he's kind of getting the understanding of the NFL pace, putting up some big numbers for them last week. What are your thoughts on this one after the Ravens are coming off of a really weird loss to the Dolphins?
Yeah, we got another crazy primetime upset. The Ravens, they just didn't look the same. They kind of looked like the way that Chicago has looked this year. I mean, really, they also released, Lev Bell this year. I think that is helpful for this rushing offense. We see Devonta Freeman, Latavius Murray. They're going to be going up kind of against this scrappy Bears defense. I'm kind of excited to see how the Bears react to, this Ravens run game.
Yeah, Bruce Irvin was signed today, helping out with that edge rush with the opposite of Robert Quinn with the Khalil Mack injury. That's a huge loss to their team right now. Their defense hasn't quite been the same that we saw during their playoff run just a little bit ago. Haven't really been able to recapture that, the Kyle Fuller go in the offseason. I'm going to stick with the Ravens in this one. While the Bears have been playing better and Justin Fields looks better, I just think that the Ravens got to bounce back from a unusual loss to the Dolphins team. They got kicked in the face. They were not prepared for that. Lamar Jackson looked off. The Bateman fumble was unusual. They just released Bell, which means that Latavius Murray's coming back for a full-time role. I like what the Ravens can do. They still want to go out and show why they're one of the best teams in the NFL.
Yeah, I mean, they are, we've been talking about the AFC North this year, just how tight of a race it is. And I mean, the Ravens are trying to keep it close. For me, it's really just how Lamar has been able to win these games. It's hard to bet on the Bears. I've been saying this kind of over the last couple of weeks. They keep these games tight, but the games where they have these tough matchups and these superstar opponents, you never really see them kind of pan out. And now they've lost 4 straight. They're coming out of the bye. Get some guys healthy, but I don't think it's enough right now. For the Ravens. So I'll go. I'm for the Bears to beat the Ravens. So I'm going to go with the Ravens.
Yeah, I like it. Okay, moving on. Green Bay Packers heading to Minnesota, taking on my Vikings. Not our best game of the year last year, but when we saw Green Bay in Minnesota. That was a tough week 1 loss. What are your thoughts on this one? the team's looking a little bit different.
Yeah. I mean, and it was big win last week for you guys. You guys where you are right now, it looks great. And I think that this is going to be an excellent running back battle, as well as just watching these two quarterbacks operate, Kirk Cousins and Aaron Rodgers, obviously. But the Minnesota Vikings right now, they are 4-5. They are trying to keep it close. The Packers have a huge division race right now, but teams fall. There's a lot more games to play, and they're looking to make a statement right now. Justin Jefferson last week was absolutely excellent. I think that going up against Jair Alexander opens up a lot for Adam Thielen, but the running back battle, your guy Dalvin's going up against maybe not Aaron Jones this week, but AJ Dillon due to Aaron Jones' injury.
Yeah, AJ Dillon is going to be in this one. Aaron Jones out with an MCL sprain. Only a few weeks, but still, it's nice when you're a Vikings fan and you're playing the Packers with no Aaron Jones. He's an absolute touchdown machine.
Yeah.
But AJ Dillon is still super serviceable. This guy's a good running back. Huge legs for a while. There was the whole, is he the new quad leader over Saquad, which upset back in the offseason.
It's not true.
He's not. But 21 carries, 66 yards, 2 touchdowns last week against the Seahawks. Vikings defense hasn't been outstanding against the rush this year. We're in the 20s. No Michael Pierce. He's on IR. Jair Alexander, though, is also on IR. So that's a big boost possibly for Justin Jefferson going to this one. I'm going to go with the Vikings. They surprised me last week. They looked good. I enjoyed our offensive play calling a lot more, and the way that we shut down Justin Herbert, I really enjoyed. And while, Aaron Rodgers is no Justin Herbert's no Aaron Rodgers, we're getting Patrick Peterson back. That's a huge boost. And Harrison Smith back this weekend. 2 huge players that you need in a game when you're facing a guy like Devonta Smith and Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah. I think, that's it right there, though. For me, the X factor is going to be Devonta Adams, Aaron Rodgers connection. I think it's, for me, it's tough because right now with these Green Bay Packers, we saw them last week. Aaron Rodgers coming off the COVID list 2 weeks ago. We saw them, against Kansas City. It wasn't what you wanted to see. So, I mean, for me this week, I think that they're going to have enough to get it done through Dillon, on the road against your Vikings. So I'm sorry, man, but I'm going with the Packers this week.
No, that's fair. I get it. They usually beat us. But moving on, Detroit Lions going to Cleveland, taking on the Browns. Lions no longer winless. They have a tie. It's not a win, but it's a tie. 0-8-1. That's much better than 0-9, I think. So good news for them. Browns absolutely destroyed by Mac Jones and the Patriots.
Yeah. And
what are your thoughts on this game?
Yeah, I mean, the crazy thing, the tie in the NFL, me and Sean, we've been always saying, make it college rules, give them the overtimes. We want triple overtime. Then.
No more ties.
But I think that Cleveland at home this week, they got to get it right. Their run game with Nick Chubb, and Dearness Johnson, who we saw last week. We mentioned earlier about the Ravens, how this AFC North is panning out, and it's going to be a tough race. I mean, it's really going to be on Baker's shoulders, no pun intended. It really depends whether his shoulder is healthy enough for him to continue. He's been taking a lot of hits. And, with the Lions, this could be an opportunity to get, Cleveland in a weird spot. Cleveland's one of those teams that has lost, weird matchups this year, like we saw last week. But I would love to see them get, Nick Chubb back in full thrust and win this game at home.
Yeah, I'm going with the Browns on this one. And for me, it's not just that the Lions haven't been the best team this year. Jared Goff has not practiced yet this week, and that means that David Blau will be in at starting quarterback. This Browns defense is still good when it plays the game well. Like when it clicks, it's good. We saw what they did against the Bengals. Last week was not their best week. We've been seeing a lot of games where teams do great one week and then really poor the next week, and this inconsistency. But I'm trusting the Browns. They're 5-5 at the bottom of the division. Bengals are there at 5-4.
Yeah,
these are must-win games right now. This is late in the season, and when you're getting a guy like Nick Chubb back onto your offensive system, and not that Dearness Johnson didn't run the ball really well last week. Nick Chubb is just that guy that can at any moment break off for 70 yards and get you a touchdown.
Yeah. And, the next game is crazy. We got a little Cam Newton, Ron Rivera reunion as the Panthers are going to be hosting the Washington football team. And both of these teams last week, I got to say, surprise wins both sides.
Yeah, I really did not see Washington beating the Bucks. Obviously Heineke was pretty upset about losing in the playoffs and was like, I'll get you back in the regular season.
Yeah.
Because it's not looking like Washington's gonna make the playoffs. But huge news for Washington also. Number 2 overall pick last year, and what was looking like the next superstar, Chase Young, has torn his ACL. He's going to be out for the rest of the season. Don't know when he'll be back next year. Could be more looking like he might start the season on the PUP list.
Yeah.
But it's a huge loss for them. I'm liking this Panthers team, man. I'm going to stick with them. I'm just thinking about it. I was thinking about their defense with Brian Burns and Jack Thompson and Stephon Gilmore and how much fun that team is. But Cam Newton has brought back a little juice to this team. Like, I'm not saying he's going to go off and he's going to look like 2015 MVP Cam Newton, but it's, they just seem to kind of be back. And that's when Christian McCaffrey is at his best, when Cam Newton is around. That's when he went 1,000 and 1,000.
It's true.
What you want.
Yeah. And the Panthers are just the biggest what if team right now, starting 3-0, then going 3-4, and then you have a win, a loss, a win, and now with Cam here, like you said, they are looking to continue the W's. I mean, I do believe that they do. And as you said, it's Christian McCaffrey for me. Washington's going to have to make some adjustments here without that. They got some film on the Bucs from last year, definitely, but Carolina's a tough place to play. CMC only played 59% of snaps. He had, he didn't have a touchdown, but he had about 175, about 160 yards on the, on the day, 10 targets, 10 catches. He is absolutely back. I'm ready for Carolina this week.
Yeah, I like him too, and also just the way the Washington's defense has been playing this year hasn't been great, and then no Chase Young. It just kind of begins to build on itself. But moving on, Houston Texans going to Tennessee, facing the Titans. I'm locking in the Titans. They have been playing just the most difficult teams in the NFL recently, and they are finding ways to win without the best running back in football, and by far their best player in Derrick Henry. I just don't see them losing in this one. Just to give everyone a reminder of who they've beaten recently, it's been the Saints, the Rams, the Colts, the Chiefs, and the Bills. All right. It's a good
lineup of teams.
Yeah. And that's all without Derrick Henry. So I'm sticking with them. They're not dropping this game. It's a divisional game.
Yeah.
Let's go.
They're 8-2 right now. They're leading the AFC right now. With Derrick Henry, I could only imagine what this team would be, but they're rolling. AJ Brown is looking like his old self. I think it's, a matchup right now, with Lattimore, but it's really nothing too big for him. I think he's going to be able to get it done. And as you said, the Tennessee Titans, very well coached team. Good for them.
Yeah, they're a great coach team. But moving on, San Francisco 49ers going to Jacksonville, taking on the Jaguars, similar to the Titans, man. Yeah, this has to be the 49ers. I think it's inexcusable. We saw what Debo could do last week against Jalen Ramsey and Aaron Donald and the Rams. Just an absolute animal. Just give the ball to him anywhere and he's going to find a way to get in the end zone or take up huge chunk plays. I just think that this is, again, we're talking about the 49ers in a tough NFC West division, kind of like how we were talking about the Browns in the tough AFC North division. These are the games that matter right now. Yeah. When the Seahawks are not doing well, when you're now starting to get going, you've beaten one of the better teams in your division, one of the better teams in the NFL, you ride that momentum. And when you play these teams that are not as good as the opponents that you've beaten, like, Rams and the Jaguars, two very different levels of teams, these are the games that are must wins. These are the games that you don't falter. These are the games you don't make those simple mistakes and you drop this game. And that's what Kyle Shanahan is about. It's what Mike Vrabel is about. It's what the Titans about. It's what win this game. Come on.
Yeah, and Jacksonville, second worst scoring offense right now, barely averaging over 2 touchdowns a game. I think that the San Francisco 49ers had the scheme to get it done, the coaching to get it done. Simple as that for me.
Yep. All right. I love it. Moving on, New Orleans Saints heading to Philadelphia, taking on the Eagles. What are your thoughts on this one?
I mean, it's kind of interesting. They're still waiting to see, is Alvin Kamara going to be, full go for this one? But I think it's going to be an awesome game here. I think that, we got to see these teams last year. The year before, these teams have played each other 3 straight years. New Orleans is 2-1 against Philly. Philly got them last year, but at Philadelphia is a tough place to play. It's getting cold. They're looking good right now. Smith went off last week. 4-6-62. Four catches for 66 yards and 2 touchdowns, and an insane touchdown all on his birthday. So, very, very exciting for him. I mean, it looks like the Jalen Hurts and Devonta Smith connection is good, but their running back group is a little weird.
Yeah, it might be a little weird, but both Boston Scott and Jordan Howard rushed for over 80 yards last week. Gotta love that, with Hurts dabbling in some quarterback rushing yards. Possibility of Miles Sanders being activated for this game. He was activated off of the IR, and they have a 21-day window to basically bring him onto the roster and get him fully padded. Could happen this weekend, might not. But that being said, Nick Sirianni came out last week talking about how they want to keep Jordan Howard involved, and he's been looking really comfortable in this offense.
Yeah.
I'm going to ride with the Eagles. They're facing Trevor Siemian, who does look like he's comfortable in this Saints offense for sure, but I kind of like the Eagles in this one. There's something about Hurts and the Smith connection I like now that we're getting later in the season. Rookies often pick it up in the second half of the season, and this is a time for Smith to go off, but it's also going to be a good time to see how Smith really is in comparison to some of the best in the league. We'll have Marshawn Lattimore this weekend. That's going to be a tough matchup for him.
Yeah, I think the Saints defense is really key for me on why I'd pick them here. They are right now the best when it comes to rushing D. They're only allowing 72 yards a game. I know in the pass game it's tough, but in New Orleans on both sides, defending the pass and just their passing game under Trevor Siemian. But, their defense right now only allowing the 7th least amount of points. Philly likes to get in these big shootouts. I don't think they'll have the opportunity here with that. I think that Siemian, as a veteran, he's not, an uber talent. He's just an absolutely great, game manager at this point in his career. But it's tough, Philly, they're going to have to contain Jalen Hurts as well. The Saints, the Philadelphia offense is third best in rushing, 144 a game. So going to have to step up, but I think it's through their defense that they get it done.
All right, I love it. And our last game in the 1 p.m. slot, AFC East showdown when the Miami Dolphins make their way to New York to take on the Jets. Now, Mike White is not going to be starting this game. Neither is Zach Wilson. Just a former Super Bowl champion known as Joey Flacco going to be starting this weekend. A once great Jet has now also returned back to the Jets and is now starting again. What are your thoughts on this one?
Dang, Joe Flacco. It's been a wild ride, Joe Flacco. And
Joe.
So the Mike White era was absolutely wild. Not only for Jets fans, but football fans everywhere.
Mainly Jets fans.
It was, as we said earlier, too, though, it was pretty crazy watching Miami's defense go to work last week. In prime time, they stepped up. We have seen them do that on occasion, and I think that they do it again. They played the Jets last year, and they outscored them in the 2 games 44-3. They shut them out in one of those games in the early season. So they have their number. I'm gonna go with Miami off of this. It's been a weird year for them. We saw Tua come back last week in relief of Jacoby Brissett. We've seen the third quarterback now for the Jets, but I think it's the Dolphins' time to win again here.
Yeah, I'm going with you. The Dolphins defense have really been playing much better the last few weeks, and you're down to your third string quarterback, and I don't think this is how Jets fans were hoping the Robert Saleh era was going to begin. I don't think this is how they thought the Zach Wilson era was going to begin. But injuries, man. When injuries happen. And kills your team. They had a few at the very beginning of the offseason. They had Marcus May and they have Zach Wilson. It's tough. There's only so much you can do.
Really?
Only so much you can do. But that's all the time that we have. Thank you everyone for tuning in. Thank you everyone for listening.
Awesome. Thank you guys for checking this out. Thank you so much for supporting us while we are going up to Buffalo. Check that video out coming out this weekend.
Check it out.
And check us out always, justsayingfootball.com, Just Saying Football on YouTube, and Just Saying No GWJS on Instagram for all your video and article updates. Thank you all for checking us out. Enjoy your week.
Enjoy.